Tonight's objective is I can apply the order of operations to simplify expressions involving sign decimals. So let's just do a quick recap of the order of operations. You handle parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication or division left to right, and finally addition or subtraction left to right. So if you go ahead and work through this problem, take a look at this problem, they have worked within parentheses and added. They then from left to right divided and multiplied. They then added and subtracted left to right. So if you need to pause this, try this problem out, you go ahead and do that. What I'd like to focus on is tonight's homework problems. So for homework, the first one you had was within parentheses 1 minus 0.625 and then times 100. So I'm going to do my scrap work off to the side. So first of all, I have to do 1 minus 0.625. And I have to keep in mind that I have to line up my decimal points to subtract. So we'll make that a 0. We'll make that one a 10. We'll borrow from that 10. That becomes a 9, which allows that to be a 10. Borrow from that 10. That becomes a 9, which allows that to be a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus 6 is 3. So 1 minus 0.625 is 0.375. Still times 100. Everything is positive, so the answer will be positive. So if I have 0.375 as my scrap work times 100, I put 2 zeros in as placeholders. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 3 is 3. I have to move my decimal place over 3 places. So this is 37.5. That's the answer for letter A. Let's keep moving. For B, again, we need to work within parentheses first. So we have to multiply. Negative times a negative will be a positive. And that's important to remember. Here's my scrap work off to the side. My scrap work off to the side, 72.60 times 0.2. Again, when we're multiplying, we don't have to worry about lining up our decimal points. We just multiply as we normally would, then figure out where to put the decimal point. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. Put down a 2, carry a 1. 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 is 5. 2 times 7 is 14. Then I just count up 1, 2, 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So negative times a negative is a positive, and this is 14.52. Then we have 78.41 plus our 14.52. We're going to go ahead and add those. Again, my scrap work off to the side. 78.41 plus 14.52. You'll remember when we add, we must line up our decimal points. Again, these are all positive, so makes our lives a little bit easier. 1 plus 2 is 3. 4 plus 5 is 9. 8 and 4 is 12. 7, 8. So that looks like 92.93. Keep in mind, when you line up that decimal point, you bring that right down. So that's 92.93. Let's hope I haven't made any little errors. Letter C, again, we're going to work within parentheses. A positive times a positive is a positive. So we're going to do 2.25 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Put down a 5, carry a 2. 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 is 12. Put down a 2, carry a 1. 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 is 11. 2 decimal places over, 2 decimal places over. So within parentheses, I got 11.25. So now I need to do 20 minus 11.25. So I'm going to do 20, put my decimal point, then I'll do my 11.25. I need to go ahead and put zeros after here. I'm going to have to borrow. 2 becomes a 1, that's a 10 now. Borrow from the 10, make that a 9, which makes that a 10. Borrow from this 10, make that a 9, which means this can be a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 2 is 7, 9 minus 1 is 8. So 8.75. So the final answer is 8.75. Again, I'm running through these fairly quickly because you were to try these on your own and then just check your work against the video. Letter D for our homework. I look here There's nothing to be done within parentheses because 2.5 is already a single value. So then I just say, okay, my next step is exponents. I have no exponents. Next step is to multiply or divide left to right. Well, this here is actually a division. That fraction bar means to divide. So we have 2.5 divided by 2. Well, remember that will bottom out, BO, bottom out. So we do 2 into 2.5. Bring that decimal point right up. 2 goes into 2 once. That's a 0. Bring down your 5. 2 goes into 5 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract off. We got a 1. We'll bring down a 0. That's ugly. We'll go ahead and bring down a 0. And then we'll say 2 into 10 goes 5 times. So 2.5 divided by 2 is 1.25. So then we have 2.75 plus 1.25 plus 1.75. Because this is all addition, I'm going to choose to add them all at once. I'm just going to line them up. 2.75. Again, this is my scrap work off to the side. 2.75, 1.25. 1.75. I'm going to go ahead and add those all up. 5, 10, 15, put down a 5, carry a 1, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 and 7 is 17. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully that's 5.75. 5.75. Let me just check. 2, 3, 4. Those two are another 5 and then 0.75. Okay, 5.75 is the answer to that one. Okay, let's try letter E, working within parentheses first. I have to do my subtraction first, so I have my scrap off to the side. 287, put a decimal point there. With subtracting, we have to line up our decimal points. 78.2, so I put a 0 here. I can't take 2 from 0, I have to make that a 10. That 7 becomes a 6. 10 minus 2 is 8. I still have my decimal point right where it is. I can't take 6 from 8. Borrow from the 8, make the 8 a 7. That becomes a 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. 7 minus 7 is 0. So that's 208.8. So within parentheses, we have 208.8 divided by a negative 0.5. Positive divided by a negative. I know that my answer will be a negative. And to do my division, I need to put my 0.5 on the outside of my division box, my 208.8 on the inside. If I have to move that decimal point over 1 on the outside, it means I move it over 1 on the inside. So then I have 5 into 208.8. 5 goes into 20 4 times. 5 times 4 is 20. Bring down the 8. 5 goes into 8 once. Subtract off. We're left with a 3. So sorry about that. I'm squeezing it in. I then have to bring down that 8. So now I say 5 goes into 38 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. I'm going to need to bring up a decimal point. And 8 minus 5 is 3. I'll bring down a 0. 5 goes into 36 times. So that is a negative 417.6. Sorry about my handwriting. So, and again, I just want to say, if you're dividing by a number between 0 and 1, it actually will have a larger answer, because dividing by negative 0.5 or 0.5 is this. So if that's dividing by 1/2. Dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2. That's how I know that the final answer should be larger than the 208. And a positive divided by a negative is a negative, negative 417.6. All right, hopefully that was helpful.